And based on that calculation, we'll probably be able to tell now, so the 42 days are also calculated.
So the calculation starts when you file the petition. Those processes, it has to be served. And even in CI 99, it talks about the number of days. You serve, they respond. You have pre-trial for 5 days. After 5 days, then the hearing will have to commence. Right. That was why the Supreme Court in the earlier ruling said that although they accepted the CI 47, which is the rules we use in the High Court because it is not part of the Supreme Court, they used it in 2013. But this time, because of they want expedition, they will not apply some of those rules. And that's why we're saying that these are rules.
Is that what they said?
No, they said so. They said
because not because they wanted to ignore the previous ones, but because new rules have emerged.
Yes, but the fact that new rules have emerged does not mean that the rules do not still apply. Because we still use CI 47. And even when you come to Supreme Court, it is still part of it. So are you saying that because new rules has emerged, we are throwing out the old ones? No, that's what we have filed for review and say that let's look at it. And what we are saying that, yes, and the same Supreme Court in review application says that they have taken judicial oath. If their own judgment is brought before them, they should have the courage, their conscience should be able to look at it again. And all we are asking is that the issue on interrogatories, look at it again, look at the law, and when you look at it, you can make a decision. That's all about the review. Is that your own decision? Look at it again. We are suggesting that there might be an alternative, and look at it, and let's move forward.
And then my final questions, a question maybe before my other colleagues come in, will be that you have until close of day tomorrow to file your witness statements. Failure to do so, the court says it may invoke CI 16, which could also include striking out your case totally.
We are having meetings, we are preparing. It's not an easy job. We are preparing, and I can tell you that by the close of tomorrow, if God gives us life, we will file this process. It will be filed.
All right. Counsel, thank you very much. We are grateful for your time. And we've been speaking to one of the legal team members of the petitioner, Mr. John Dramani Mahama, former president. And he tells us they will be able to file before close of day tomorrow to avoid a situation where CI 16 could be invoked, and that could lead to a dismissal of the petition. We'll be joined by my other colleagues. Of course, Ayodo Nyako is already here with me. So when we were coming to court today, we were torn between a number of issues. Little did we know that what emerged today was ever going to happen. And Barbara Kuma will also join me at the moment. Barbara, you will stay to my left-hand side. What were your expectations ahead of today's sitting? I obviously was expecting that the review application will be attended to, and then again the other issues that were filed at about 2:30 yesterday would also be attended to. Obviously that didn't happen.
Yes, like you said, that was our expectation because you know, it's always, we are told that they are the rules of the game, the court, the justice of the court. They are in charge and determine what is relevant to them per every case. So to them, today what came up was the most important thing to be dealt with. And so they looked at it, and it's very interesting that today we're seeing that the issue of the number of days that CI 99 talks about. Some say 42, some say 90 days.
Well, some say 3 months, actually, yes.
Exactly. So we're seeing things coming up as and when, and that's the beauty of the law. And that's why it's always said that it's the judges, justice of the court, they are the one that have to interpret what the law says. So we're waiting to hear from them, and I hope that this time around, as the court has given its orders, this witness statement will be filed, as the counsel of the petitioner, one of them, that would have just said that they're going to do that. Hopefully, God gives us grace, they're going to do that quickly. And also, one of the things that I'm expecting to see, that like the court said, by Thursday, they will come back to court. So I'm hoping, because what I would like it or not is holding us back to some extent as a country. And if I'm an investor, I want to come and do business in Ghana, I'll be looking at these to see how it's panning out. And so these are the issues that need to be dealt with. But like they said, justice hurried could be buried as well. And you also quoted, delayed is denied. So there must be the need to strike a balance. And that is what the law is about, so that you are not severely dealt with, but you know what you stand for. And so we're waiting for the justice of the Supreme Court to take us along as the cases.
I'll turn to you when I do so. For us to wrap up, I'd like you to try and get a peek into what might happen in court on Thursday, looking at all the outstanding issues, how they're likely to pan out. But Barbara, you sat in the courtroom yourself. For those of our viewers who are lay people who probably even didn't watch from the beginning, summarize for us what happened in court.
Okay, so today we're supposed to start the trial itself, as was ordered or scheduled by the courts the last time. But the courts had actually ordered the petitioner to file his witness statements the day after the hearing, and then subsequently the other parties in the petition to file theirs the following day after that. But in court, we realized that the petitioner, that's the former President John Mahama, couldn't do as the court said. So they came to court with two more applications, if I should say. One for a stay of proceedings, so that their earlier application, which is for the review of the ruling of the court on the interrogatories, to be heard before any other thing is done. And then another one for the amendments and additions, and they explained that's not an addition, it's that and that. But that's what they wanted to do this morning in court. But the court had its own decision. It said that, well, if you don't file the witness statements like we asked you to, we can't also consider your application. So come back tomorrow on, that's Wednesday, 27th, file the witness statements as we have told you or ordered you, and then we come back on Thursday and listen or hear you out. Basically, that's what happened in court today. Yeah.
But the judges at a point expressed dissatisfaction, for want of a better word, at the petitioner's lawyers' inability to file. They said it was disregarding the rules of the court.
Well, that's the court's opinion. They also had that reason for not filing, and I explained it to the court that they thought that the application, the review application, was they had to incorporate some of the issues on the review application into the witness statements. So they thought it was more important to listen to the application before filing their witness statements, so they can incorporate whatever issue they wanted to into the statement.
Okay, Barbara, Edward, very quickly, so let's pick into Thursday. What's likely to happen very briefly in 30 seconds?
Well, going by what the Supreme Court stated, it shows that clearly they want to proceed with the case and deal with it as quickly as possible, as stated in the CR 99.
All right, thank you very much. And this has been our coverage of Election Petition 2020. And of course, you've just heard from my two colleagues, Edward Nyako and Barbara Kuma, as well as from the lawyers on both sides. Today, what happened in court was that
we're still here at the International Conference Center. Still here at the International Conference Center, and we are looking, we're watching the funeral rites of Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings.
last respect to our former president and our former commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces.
Now, we have seen up to this time what we are expecting now are the members of the diplomatic corps, and these are foreign officers that are staying with us and working with us, and therefore they are part of Ghana. That they are now the next group of people that we would have to see coming to pay their last respect. And then after the diplomatic call, the next organized situation would be organized groups. And these groups would have to come in. We have the Bar Association, we have the Ghana Medical Association. All these are people, associations are people that had worked with the former president. And they would want to come to at least recognize that, look, we know you meant well, and you lived with us, and that is where we are getting to. So after the organized groups, then we'll be moving to the traditional customary rights. And this, you know, that as the Ghana's tradition depicts. We first the people, we first a country, and we have tradition, and we have customs, and we will have to make sure that it is lived. And the rest of the world that will be watching will be seeing pictures of how, as an organized group and organized people, would live. And it has not been very easy watching Nana Kunodo Rawlings. Look at the way he's holding her hands, folding her hands, and it has not been easy. You can just imagine that it is not easy.
No, it hasn't been easy.
Yeah.
It's not
Sometimes you sit down and you think that, for example, soldiers cry? But when it gets to a time that you lose a loved one,
of course,
and then you know you are not going to see again. Yes.
Especially when you remember the moments you shared together, the emotional moments, the romantic moments, the moments you had to struggle together and bring up the family to the level where they have gotten to now. When you think about all those things, you realize that it's so emotional, and I really sympathize with her. It's my prayer that God continue to strengthen her in this moment, because it's not easy. It's not easy at all.
The catafalque group today, they're still on.
Yes.
Now a new set of people had come to change them, and that we will see. Yes. Captain.
Gabi.
The soldiers would always want to make sure that it is done and done.
Of course.
And this is one thing that as a people and as a country, we should try to learn. Let us live and demonstrate everything we do with quality, decency, respect, and perfection. And if that's one we can do, then we can now see that we would get the results we want. As a soldier.
Yes.
As a soldier. Former soldier. Now the late.
As an officer.
As an officer.
Yes, as an officer.
As an officer.
Yes.
As an officer. What is motivating? What is motivating you to feel proud that you are a commissioned officer?
The motivation is, it's all there. The values he upheld when he was living. He stood for probity, accountability, integrity. And integrity, in the military, we don't joke with it. We don't joke with it. And we attach seriousness to whatever we do. That is why even during rehearsals, you see we paint the picture as if it is the real thing we're doing. And I think as Ghanaians, if we should attach seriousness to whatever we do, I am very sure we will definitely get results in whatever we are doing. And I think it is those values that the late former president emulated, and some of us saw, and it made us have the courage, the zeal to join the military and become officers of the Ghana Armed Forces.
How do you, sometimes we look at around us and we see all shades of opinion, all shades of beliefs and values, and then how we live, how we want to let it be translated into actual development and actual tribe. These are members of the diplomatic corps. So the members of the diplomatic corps have started coming in, and they are now going to pay the last respect to the former president of the Republic of Ghana, Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings.
So good, the rate and level at which we are going, and I am hopeful that as the organized groups also come in, we will see the way the security at the various points usher them in that orderly manner. And so far, I must say kudos to the security team as well, for having been so professional with the way they carry themselves about in the discharge of their duties.
And this is a very big plus to the country Ghana. We had a funeral on our hands, and we have really demonstrated the capacity to be very professional, very civil with it, and we have done very well with it. We continue doing very well with it in COVID times. This is an indicator. COVID has come to stay with us, and we have all agreed that we have COVID, and life cannot stop. And so let us live with the COVID protocols and project our life and project development and project the country, and make sure that it is smooth as usual.
Sure.
File past the mortal remains of the former president.
I'm sure these are people who have actually, some of them have really worked with the former president. They all have memories of what they have shared or their interactions with the former president. As we had in the studio, as people spoke about him, his values he stood for, and I think we should all have values so that at the end of the day, if we are no more, we should have a legacy to leave behind for our families.
Captain, that
is
the perfect conclusion.
Yes.
The question we should be asking ourselves: if I am in the casket now, what would people be saying? So if you can't ask yourself the question, and you can't put yourself in that particular position, and you can't even produce the answers that people will be saying, giving about you, then it means that you are not you are not about to, you have not. You are not ready to face life. Because it is not what you think you are, but how the people think who you are.
It is how the people see you. Now we see our former president lying. He can't wake up to say what he thinks he is, but it is how people visiting, people coming to pay their last respect, it is how they see him. That is what is going to the news of the day. That is what they will spread when they go out to speak about our former president. Gabi, so as we still see our diplomats filing past the mortal remains of our former president, permit me to quickly run our viewers and listeners through the procession route. That is, after the funeral service at the square, the procession route. The route will take this course from the Independence Square to the Osu Castle Road. Then we'll move to the Ridge Roundabout, to the Kojo Thompson Road, that is within Adabraka. Circle, we'll move to the Nima Police Station, the Gifford Road, that is the 37 Road. And we go to Bema Camp. Then from Bema Camp, we'll move on the Mahama Road and then to the military cemetery. That's going to be the procession route for tomorrow. So as our viewers are home watching and those who live by and they think they can also pay their last respect by just coming by to the roadside to wave and also pay their last respect to our former president. I will also take the opportunity to inform the public once again that COVID is real. COVID has come to stay with us. So we should all try as much as possible to mask up, we should wear our masks and observe the protocols that are laid in place by way of COVID.
So definitely that will be maybe the challenge that we would have to face from that for the funeral. That will be tomorrow. That is when we get because you can't predict how the people will move out and how they would. And if we are not very careful, that is when maybe we cannot be in position to control the social distancing. But I know that since our brothers and sisters of the military will be there, you know, it's sometimes when you see an authority, you're just supposed to behave. It's just like children in a classroom. When the teacher is out of the classroom, you can hear all sorts of noise. But immediately the teacher walks into the classroom, you can see order. Right. And so far as society is aware that the men and women in uniform are our own brothers. They live with us. Yes. When they take off the uniform, they are just like us. You can't recognize him. You can't say he's a soldier or he's a policeman. Immediately he takes off and he's in a civilian, he's in a mufti, he's like us. But then they have joined to do it, and that is what it is their responsibility to drive and direct.
But Gabi, I would believe, I'm very sure that Ghanaians are getting to know the reality that COVID is with us now. And I'm definitely sure that tomorrow, as they come out in their numbers, they will definitely wear their masks and observe the protocols. I believe Ghanaians are very obedient. I believe Ghanaians are very obedient, and they wouldn't want to wait until security or enforcement agencies come out to enforce the laws that they should wear their mask before they wear. I am sure Ghanaians are moving from that level of not understanding what the reality is to understanding what the reality is. Yes. Agencies so coming in to pay their last respect to our former president.
Service tomorrow.
Yes.
All right. So how's the water region?
Water region is doing well.
It's doing very well.
Very well.
That is that. At the Accra International Conference Center, where we're observing the day 3 of the funeral of former President Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings. With me in the studio for a very short discussion is the Volta Regional Minister, Honorable Archibald, Dr. Archibald Letcher. Dr. Letcher, you're welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
This time around, we can't do anything without looking and respecting the COVID protocol. How are the people of the Volta region respecting the COVID protocols? Regional Minister?
Yeah, thank you very much. there's an upsurge of cases in the region as well. And the Regional Public Health and Management Committee has met, and we've advised that we should up our game in terms of the public gatherings and the wearing of masks, which is mandatory. We want to try and enforce it, and the security services have started the enforcement, because it's quite tough. You see people in the lorry parks, in the markets. You drive along the towns and the villages, and the culture of wearing masks has not caught up very well with our people. It was better at the beginning, but we appear to have relaxed. So the security services have been asked to, just as the President of the Republic directed, to try and do some enforcement.
So that is what is happening. Yeah. We hope that the people will understand and respect that, look, COVID is real, it is true, it is not a hoax, it is not a lie. Nobody should tell you that COVID is not there. Somebody wants to profit from COVID, and therefore and please protect yourself.
That's right.
Let the regional minister assist you to protect yourself, and let our brothers and sisters in the Volta region know that we need them all together to move Mother Ghana forward. Right. Honorable, now Regional Minister.
Regional Minister Designate.
Regional Minister Designate. Former Minister, now Regional Minister Designate.
Yes,
now, Dr. Lecha,
yes, sir.
We are seeing the mortal remains of former President Jerry John Rawlings. He stood in for certain values, and whenever you hear probity, accountability, integrity, and social justice, all these words were there, but immediately you mention them, then what comes into mind is Jerry John Rawlings. Now Jerry John Rawlings is lying in a casket before us. Those values he stood for, values that he spoke about. How do we, as a people, and you people as politicians, encourage the people to respect? Because it should not be only for him. It should, if it can develop this country, then it should be something that all of us agree and accept and live with. How do we ensure that, you as politicians, ensure that the people accept it, and everybody will play his part to move this country forward?
I think that those values are very, very, very vital for the development of our country. And if we are able to uphold those values, then the resources that we have can be targeted at the development of our country and to improving the lives of our people. So they are very, very important values that all of us as a country must embrace. It's not only politicians, even from our families, family heads must be accountable for any revenues that come to the family. Chiefs accountable, and in our small offices, wherever we find ourselves, whether in public service or the private sector, we have to apply those values if we are to actually develop our country, because that is what we can. Those values will protect the public purse and make sure the little resources that are made available will actually go to provide the services that they are intended to do. So we remember First Lieutenant J.J. Rawlings for his passion for accountability, transparency, and social justice. And I've had a bit of personal relationship with him as a minister in the region, because he lived sometimes in Tefle, which happens to be the southern district of the Volta region. And he was a great advisor. I took the opportunity to consult him on certain issues, and he was very helpful and supportive to me. And I've met him at many functions where his usual self was displayed. And I think that Ghana has lost a very important personality. But we hope that we shall
continue to apply the principles that he lived for, especially social justice. And he was also very passionate about the development of our country. And he has played his role. And I believe that after him, all the governments have also done their bit. And our president, the Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, is also very much passionate about the development of this country, and he has love for our country. And that is why we are all here to pay our last respect to him and to give him a befitting farewell. And so we appreciate, and especially I'm from the Volta region. He's our son. And so it's important that we are here. So I'm here with my former deputy minister, who also came with me, because we have to be present. And we are a bit emotional because we had close relationship with him. But what can we do? That's all of us who one day go. You say taking the lead, but whatever is left behind, whatever principles is left behind, we must uphold those principles and apply them to our everyday life. Everyday life. What is also in the church? Right. Everyday life. So he was a great man.
A very great man.
We thank God for his life.
If you look at his activities, look at him carrying cocoa, look at him supporting in building rail tracks, look at him supporting in getting rid of filth, look at him helping at a point in time. There are even pictures of him pounding fufu doing this. And these are spirit of volunteerism. But now volunteerism is missing from the youth. How do we encourage the spirit in our young ones? The young ones of today, anytime at all you talk about doing something, then they ask you, how much?
How much are you going to pay me?
How much are you going to pay me?
That's the first question.
That's the first question. And if there's no money value, then
it's unfortunate.
You see. So how do we translate the values, the real thinking, the support from the former president, and let it get down to the youth, and let the youth see the need to support in nation building?
It's important that these things begin at home, in our various homes and in our schools and in our communities. Very, very important that the spirit of volunteerism is revived in our community. I have a personal story about young people who came to me that they want to come and help you. They've seen you from afar. They want to get closer to you, and they come and stay around me for three months, just trying to volunteer. And I still have people around me who volunteer. And my own father, my late father, was also volunteered to be a houseboy to some expatriates, and that offered him the opportunity to go to school and get educated. So it's important that young men, if you have the opportunity, volunteer your services, and if you work hard and you have integrity, you are honest, that will open a door for you to get to a higher level. So we have to remove this notion of putting monetary value on everything. Meanwhile, the question you are asking the employer, how much are you going to pay me? The employer doesn't even know your value, because you haven't started day one.
Day one.
For him to know how useful you are.
You are.
But when you start and he sees your value, you'll be surprised that even what he was going to offer you, 1,000, within 3 months it will get to 2,000. So, and the Bible also says we shouldn't despise humble beginnings. So start on that the spirit of humility, selflessness is what will help the young people to decide to go and volunteer. We have a government program called the NAPCO program, where the government brought a policy to get young graduates who are unemployed to go into apprenticeship in various departments and so on. Those who are humble enough to accept it, many of them are getting better opportunities. But some of the people didn't value the policy, and therefore they are still home, unemployed. And they will tell you they want to work at Bank of Ghana, they want to work somewhere. But start from somewhere. And God would open greater doors for you. So we have to work on that in our homes and in our churches, After all, there are people who work in the church as ushers, cleaners, who are not paid any money. And so if we begin to work on that I'm not doing anything, can I go and offer my service to this business? And you get there, so CEO, I'm a graduate in ICT, but I haven't got a job. And I realize that I can be of some value to you. I am here to volunteer service and support your company to grow. Obviously, at the end of the month, that man is not going to look at you to go home with nothing, because you are going to take transport, you must have lunch. Therefore, he's going to reward you temporarily until one day he will tell you that, man, John, I wouldn't allow you to go, so I want to offer you a job, a contract for 2 years. So the volunteerism, if you are a hard-working person and you are honest and transparent, if you come and go and volunteer with a company, you are likely to be engaged permanently until you get a better offer and move on. So it's very important that we cultivate that spirit. That's right, very important.
Now, the man lying in front of us, as you said, rightly said, you put it, is our son. And a very solid son, a very strong son.
That's right.
A very strong son is called.
Yes,
how are the people in the Volta region seeing this loss?
Yeah, we are very sad that he is not able to stay with us longer, because he has a lot of experience that he shares with some of us, and we'll miss him. Even those who don't get closer to him admire him from the distance. He was very charismatic and very down to earth. I mean, I visited him one day and we were to have breakfast. He told me that there was a very good wache from the town. He has a special wache seller that provides the wache. So we were waiting for the wache until the wache arrived. And in actual fact, the wache was anointed. Heavy wache.
Very heavy wache.
And we really enjoyed it. So he was very down to earth. He wasn't arrogant, very humble, and we have lost a great son of our region.
That's now the Volta region, Rawlings. Do we have any intentions of maybe making sure that there is something to encourage the people to know that we can get another Rawlings from the Volta region? Somebody who would be thinking like him, believing and taking his time to achieve results. Do we have any intention of creating something for the people of the Volta region, the young ones?
The young ones who have to be inspired by characters like J.J. Rawlings, who have to be inspired. And it calls for humility, it calls for hard work, it calls for upgrading of yourself. I mean, you want to be like this man, I want to be like him. And not only one person, many people should aspire to be. Like one thing I like about him in his final days was very apolitical. He was no more political. And if we look at these things without the lenses of politics, it will help us more, because everything seems to be politics, but life is not all about politics.
Right, so on your screen, Honorable Minister, let me rudely interrupt you. We're still seeing the members of the diplomatic corps coming in to file past the mortal remains of the former president, Jerry John Rawlings. Today, as day 3 would end, and tomorrow, day 4.